Hey everybody, it's been a while. How y'all feeling out there? I'm Greg Aalvik, and I'm back. I'm ready to drop some biblical spirituality on you. It's May 25th, 2021, and this is the Double A Show. Today on the Double A Show, we're getting into scriptural interpretation. The Bible is just there, waiting to be understood, waiting for a people who can hear what it's trying to say, waiting for eyes that can see and ears that can hear, waiting for someone who doesn't have an ulterior motive behind their interpretive method. So let's get ready to digress with Greg Aalvik here on the Double A Show. Now, I talk about painting a better mental image in my last video, episode 20. If you want to go back there and check that out, you can find that on YouTube or on my Rumble channel as well, the Double A Show, or you can search Greg Aalvik. But while you're scouting around, be sure to subscribe so you can follow along. And I guarantee you, you won't find this stuff anywhere else. The information I'm sharing, no one else in the whole world is sharing this stuff. So this is a big statement, I understand, but I'm absolutely sure of what I'm saying here. We're about to get into topics that are essential for us in order to understand our spiritual journey in this world. Does that make me some kind of a guru? Hardly. But seriously, no one is talking this stuff at all. No one's talking about it, so I'm going to. When it comes to the imagery in our minds, everything we absorb into this painting, it goes into this painting, and there's this gigantic painting we have going through our whole life. It's blurry around the edges, and some days it seems like the whole damn thing's blurry, if you know what I'm saying. But those are the days we ask ourselves, I just don't get it. What's life all about? I don't understand anything anymore. I don't know what's going on in my life right now, right? Now hear me. You can have a totally jacked up painting and have it as crystal clear to you, no blurry parts as you can possibly imagine. But that doesn't mean your painting isn't crap. There are times in life when everything seems like it's all working just fine. As a matter of fact, it's working great. And your mental image seems like it's perfect. Seems clear, concise, because your painting and your life experience seem to be lining up really nicely. I'm just going to say this. Don't let your paint dry. All right? Don't let your paint dry. And trust me, those dogmatic ideas you get, usually it happens early on in your life. Those youthful ideas are so bold and powerful, and life seems easy, so you get cocky. You start a YouTube channel, right? You start giving life advice because you feel like this shit's easy for me. Ain't nothing but a thing, right? So sometimes I recommend that younger folks, or anyone, frankly, that feels like they got this thing on lock, that's what I'm saying, bro, don't let your paint dry. I hear you, you're killing it, right? Don't let your paint dry, because life has this way of changing shit up on you, and it has a way of flipping the script, right? So you thought it was all going to be this way, and everything went that way on you. And it happens to a lot of us, almost every one of us. And can I tell you, life has a way of humbling you. So yeah, right? Like right now you're on top of the mountain, right? Right now. But check it. I'm just saying, I hope you got all your safety lines attached while you're up there on that mountain. That's all I can say. But on the flip side, there are some people out there feel like you're in a low place. You know, metaphorically speaking, you're in a valley. And Captain Obvious here comes along and tritely says, hey, you got nowhere to go but up, right? And I still drop the cliche. You know what? Here's what I've learned. When you're in the valley, it's dark and it's scary. You can't see shit. Can't hear anything. Not even obvious shit like cliches. And people in the valleys need to get their bearings. It's hard because valleys disorient you. Cloudy skies block you from being able to see which direction you're supposed to be going. The earlier in life people can realize you need to be agile, nimble, what I call spiritual agility. You need to develop your spiritual agility. Spiritual agility is humility, right? Teachability, another synonym for that, right? Allow new paint on your canvas protectively and step back, see how it works, see how it looks, see how it's doing for you, because that's it. It takes experiencing the truth and that truth that you just added to your painting. You have to see it in action repeatedly, often over the course of years, to really know if you should let it solidify or not. Then cautiously you can let that paint dry into a solid truth that you can depend on, and you can see it repeat itself and hold up for you over and over and over. So we try not to be cocky. Humility happens voluntarily or it happens forcefully, but it happens. Who is doing the painting on your canvas? Who do you trust? It turns out our choice of paint supplier is one of the more crucial things we ever do in life. Do we just sit around? Do we sit around, smoke pot, and theorize? A lot of people do come up with their own theories, just sit there and trip out and try to come up with stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's not a good idea. How do we know who to listen to? We don't. No one comes along and says, listen to him. You have to learn from instinct. You have to learn from trial and error. I say listen to no one and listen to everyone. We can't even trust if our life has been improved. How are you judging improvement? Is it based on how happy you are? I feel happier. So that's good, right? You better hope so. Are they positive thinkers? Are those the people that are feeding you positive thinkers? Are they success-oriented folks, gurus who teach you how to make money and earn this financial independence? Are they religious like me? I don't like to call myself religious. I like to call myself spiritual. But you know what I'm saying? Are they promising you eternal rewards? Are they promise you eternal security? Are they offering you freedom from guilt, from sins? Freedom from sins. You can get a lot of churches, a lot of religious thinkers to try to get you free of your sins 1 week at a time. And if you follow their religious system, are they selling you joy? Are they selling contentment? Are they selling love? These needs we think we have are often painted there by the serpent. These improvements, these things that we think we need. The serpent is enticing you. He's convincing you you are inadequate right now. Right now. Something about you is missing the mark. Something is off. Something's off. Something isn't right. Hello, serpent. That's who that is. And you don't need to go anywhere to have a chat with that dude, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that dude, that voice is with you all the fucking time. You don't have to go to a conference to hear this seminar, all right? He's got it playing 24/7. You don't need to pay, sign up for the webinar. You just lay there in your bed at night, and there he is. You need to change. I need to change. You're not good enough. I really don't think I'm good enough. Something is wrong with you. I think there's something seriously wrong with me. The second you agree, the second you see his point, I could be better. That's how he gets you. It's It's a strong argument, too. Who thinks they can't be better than they are? Personal growth, self-improvement sells so much out there in the world, man. If you're not trying to do it, you're trying to teach others to do it. And I don't want to be complacent, right? I don't want to be complacent. How arrogant is that? Are you saying I don't need to be better? Spiritually, you do not. Hear me. Spiritually, you are perfect. You don't need to be better than you are. What you are is ignorant of how perfect you are. You are can feel like growth, right? But it's not. It's what it is realization. It's an awakening to what is. It's enlightening. It's enlightenment. It's a discovery of your true identity. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not enough and that it's about your physical location or your attributes. Don't let anyone denigrate you spiritually. The minute you think you're not good enough, that's when the serpent gets you. That's when they've got you on the good list. That's what you get taught. We want to get all the things on the better list, on the good list, right? So listen to me. And I'll teach you how to avoid the bad. Eliminate the unpleasant. I'm going to help you sidestep the ugly and bypass the gross. We're going to learn to disassociate from wickedness and run from evil. Then your life is going to be better. Your life will smell better. Self-improvement, self-help. Right? It's the serpent. Are we just going to follow one of those fools who just invents some theory? There are loads of people who've come up with theories. Do any of those people whose theory impresses you so much it makes you want to go emulate it? I mean, is somebody living such a great all-around life in every way that you're just ready to go do whatever they say and do? The most evidence-filled collection of spiritual writings ever in the history of the world is in the Bible. That's where I'm coming from. So if what we've been told so far is what the Bible is about, if it's true, then we should just dump the Bible and dump all that shit right now. Because there is absolutely no evidence that in 2,000 years anything that anyone's ever taught from the Bible we have no evidence it's been beneficial to mankind in any way. There are a few good stories that can be told, right? And there are a lot of horror stories, absolutely evil stories about Bible followers and churchgoers who did horrific things to people in the name of the God of the Bible. We all know that. The Bible is good and it's evil. It has both. Imagine a book. I'm going to switch up on you here. Imagine, here's a book that's warning people not to eat from a tree called the knowledge of good and evil. It's warning you not to think from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And yet, I don't think there's another book that's produced more people that eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil than the Bible. The Bible's responsible for producing both good and evil in mankind. And if you watched my series about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you'd understand that when we look at the Bible as a moral guide, as a set of rules or for a law, what we're doing is eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Am I suggesting that you shouldn't read the Bible? Hell no. No, I'm not. So get that out of your head. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we got to remember that it warns us not to go there. It warns us to don't eat from that tree. And in all my years, it took me a incredible length of time for me to finally end up in some strange happenstance where I was in a church and the minister brought this shit up in a way that made sense finally. And I was like, oh my goodness. See, most churches you go to, it's about good and evil. You're listening to the knowledge of good and evil. Most churches you go to, if you could see in the spirit, you could look up and see the branches of a fig tree right over the top of your head. That's right. Here you are, thousands of years later, sitting in a church, supposedly Christian, which should be preaching from the tree of life, but you're sitting under the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They may say Jesus' name all the time, but they're still preaching the serpent's message. You're being taught to examine your whole life through that lens, through that perspective, and that's condemnation. That's why we're not doing that well. Can anyone out there say that they've never learned right and wrong, good and evil? In fact, that's probably the goal of most parents. That's the critique of most criminals, right? Didn't anyone teach you about right and wrong? In fact, it seems crazy. Don't get me wrong. We need law and order. I'm going to say it again. We need law and order. We need rules. In our literal world, children need rules. Immature people need rules and laws, right? Our society needs those rules. But adults don't need rules. Not like that. Not mature adults. Not over your spiritual life, for sure. And when you're under religious rules, it undermines your spiritual experience. It actually subverts your relationship with God. And when you're in a church and you're hearing, thou shalt not, or else, you could see in the spiritual dimension, you'd look up and see figs. Then that means the voices you're listening to is coming straight out of the serpent's mouth. Not just any old serpent, but the serpent. And that serpent doesn't want you to be in paradise. The longer you listen to him, the more you will despise your life right now. Listen to me. The longer you listen to him, the serpent, the more you despise your life right now, today. That's what the knowledge of good and evil does. That's the fruit of it. It builds a case for dissatisfaction right now. The serpent shows you a better way. The serpent talks about a better place. The serpent makes getting to that imaginary better place conditional. If you act this way and not that way, if you do this and you don't do that, then you will gain access. Then you will be qualified. If you do this and not that, then you're going to be happy. If you follow these rules or keep these laws, then you'll please God. Then you'll get to go to heaven. And then you won't go to hell. It's conditional. Trying to get into paradise, it's exactly this mindset that takes you out of paradise. Follow me on this. Because we know it was listening to that garbage that got Adam and Eve booted out of paradise in the first place. How ironic is that? Think about it. Adam and Eve are in paradise. They were right where they were supposed to be. They're right where all of us would love to be, in perfect communion with God, right? They were, all of us are striving with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength to get to be where Adam and Eve were. Where we all hope we could be one day, in the paradise, one with God. So what in the fuck happened? Some stupid motherfucker convinced people who are in paradise, oh, you can do better. There's more to this thing than you've been experiencing. Where you are isn't as great as you think it is. There is a higher level you can attain. There is a closer walk with God. There is a oneness that is better than this perfect oneness you're walking in right now. There is something better than the Garden of Eden. Can you imagine making it to heaven and having an angel come up to you and whisper in your ear, you know, there's something better than you're experiencing right now? That's a big part of the poison of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's poison. There's a better place. There's a higher calling. There are loftier destinations. And to get there, what comes next is the essence of the good and evil thinking. Do this and don't do that. That's the trick. That's his trick. The torture that ensues from you adopting that mindset. If there's a better place, what am I doing here? It changes our perspective immediately, our perception. It awakens us to discontent and misery. It unlocks the door to agitation, to boredom, and it fuels the fires of rebellion. Not wanting to be where you are. Not being thankful where you are. Not being content where you are. Not enjoying your experience right now. We've turned down the light and we've stepped into the shadows of negativity. We have literally created negativity when we eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And now we view everything about our life with this slant toward negativity. Humanity has a propensity to think negatively. Anyone going to disagree with that? Where does that come from? I just showed you the source. We've begun to build this nest with this kind of thinking to live in. We're living in this place where gratitude cannot exist easily. A place called resentment, where being thankful has to be strived for, worked for. We've created a world in our mind where resentment lives, every kind of evil flows from that river. Because if there is a better place, if a better place exists, why ain't I there? I want to be there. How do I get there? This place sucks. I hate this. I hate being here. I'd much rather be there, that imaginary better place, right? This place sucks. My life sucks. I hate this. We just heard. That's the voice right there of 1 million teenagers. Am I lying? This is when and how we become unthankful, ungrateful. This is the fuel that empowers suicidal thinking. Do you realize we have an epidemic of suicidal thinking right now? You know that, right? That kids who grew up, I just heard this, kids that grew up in the Great Depression are 5 to 8 times more happy than our kids are today. 5 to 8 times happier in the Great Depression. What are we doing? We're doing something wrong. Why are our children more depressed than kids who grew up in the Great Depression? Makes no sense. Because in all our search for happiness, in all our achievements, in all our technology and acquiring of incredible wealth, conveniences beyond belief, even 100 years ago, they'd be blown away at what we have access at the touch of a finger. Beyond measure. Instant gratification, right? Maybe, facetiously, we don't know what it is that makes us happy. Resentment is growing. Resentment is a killer. Resentment, envy, covetousness, right? Wanting shit you don't have, wanting more, wanting what others have, thinking if only I had that or I lived there, if only I had a better house, right? You ever thought that? Better friends. I need a better, if only I had better parents. I wish my parents were better. I wish my wife was better. My husband sucks. I wish I had a better husband. This is the fuel of the mantra, my life sucks. The anthem of our generation, of this generation, and past generations. We've signed up for a life that judges everything from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and it's killing us spiritually. It's killing our children spiritually. We are killing our children, folks. And we don't even know what to do about it. How do we reverse it? Suicide hotlines. It's not working. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. We have more suicide hotlines now, and it's getting worse. More people are killing themselves. Got way worse during COVID, right? We have to learn to think better. We have to get a better understanding of what life is all about. And we have to develop a better worldview than the one we're in, right? Our worldview is full of resentment and anger. You agree? The predominant worldview is rife with resentment and discontent and envy. The worldview we have now is full of worry and full of fear and stress. To counter it, we need to go back to the Garden of Eden and realize it's not a real place. Adam and Eve is a story, folks, a story about humanity, a story meant to show us where we went wrong, how we go wrong. So maybe we can search for the fix to our worldview issues, our problems. And by the way, this is what the Bible is all about. This is what the Bible actually is offering to us, but no one seems to read it right. So everybody, I want you to come back and check out the very next video I'm going to do. I'm going to follow up on this thought about the Bible and how it leads us to a worldview that many people that go to church have never heard before. But I believe with all my heart that's what the Bible has been trying to say all along. And for some weird reason, I get to be the one to share it with you. In the meantime, get my book. Go check out my website. You can see some of the blogs that I've done and written. And my book is called The Parable. You can get it on Amazon.com. It's called The Parable, Rescuing the Bible from the Clutches of the Church. And so we'll see you next week. In the meantime, let's lock it up. Double.